Teaching children a second language and being a second language learner myself, I tend to be more sensitive, mindful, and careful in my evaluation of my learner, their ability to think, express, and make meaning. In today's talk, I want to share with you two different ways that you can enhance your learners' confidence, skills, and ability to contribute inside the classroom. So, when a teacher asks a question in a classroom, which is usually a blend of mixed abilities, the children who are at an advanced stage in learning the language or are more fluent and descriptive tend to contribute more confidently. Their confidence can sometimes intimidate the children who are still struggling to develop their thoughts, are still struggling to find the right words to express themselves, and it is far more difficult for them to summarize their ideas to the teacher, and this can tend to be very demotivating, especially if it happens for longer periods of time and the teacher does not identify these children. So the important thing to understand is that their main struggle is building their ideas, and that struggle is coming from lack of vocabulary or the right vocabulary. Now, this does not help when we feel that this is still a classroom, you still need to move children forward, the testing is still going to happen, so you still want your children to progress. So what is that way that you can actually engage them meaningfully and give them the confidence to contribute? So there is such a thing called as thinking time. So when a teacher asks a question in a classroom, there is a certain thinking time that she gives to the children, which she can't exceed because she has a lesson to complete. So these are some of the things that tend to really take away the gist of or the spirit of learning, but at the same time, this is the reality of our classrooms. So in a situation like that, which I have faced a lot in my classroom, I developed a certain strategy which I called the Y-Train strategy. So I developed the Y-Train strategy as a tool to support the second language learners, their thinking and their ability to express. And I am a huge fan of processes. So I feel like processes give children the confidence to contribute. If a child knows how to get something done, or if a child knows how to get someplace, then they are ready to make a start. They are ready to take initiative. And I think initiative is so important to a child's growth. So if I want to answer a question, I should know that there is a process that I can take. There is a way that's going to lead me to an answer. Whether that's the right or wrong answer, it doesn't matter as long as I can contribute. So the Y-Train strategy was really based on children building their ideas. So it definitely was a dialogue between the teacher and the child. So if I would ask a simple question, and I'll give you an example. For example, if I'm asking, why is it important to read? The child might have answered with, it's important to read because we learn new things. Now, I would counter the child with their answer and take a question out of their answer. So I would say, why is it important to learn new things? And they might go on to say, it's important to learn new things because we want to grow. And then you can tell that from there, I would ask, why is it important to grow? So this back and forth of questioning their thoughts made them a little more aware of themselves, of what they were saying, and understanding their answers. So in a way, it was a back and forth where the teacher would spend some time with the child, understand their thoughts, but at the same time help them build their ideas. And then at the end of it, when the teacher would actually ask them the same question, saying, why is it important to read? They have now formulated a lot of reasons within themselves that they can summarize and put it to the teacher. So a lot of times when you want to assess the understanding of a concept with second language learners who are also struggling learners, I think it's important to make that effort to investigate their thoughts. A lot of times, due to lack of time or due to the pressure of the curriculum, teachers can sometimes tend to generalize the whole idea. Because somebody is not contributing as much, because they don't have enough words to express themselves, you think that their concepts are weak. So I really feel it's important that we develop strategies to investigate and explore and help children have a tool that they can engage to become better. So in time, with more practice, they didn't need me to actually investigate their thoughts, because they learned how to question their own thoughts. And once they learned the process, they were able to, create a better summary of what they wanted to say. So I think that the Why Train strategy worked wonderfully inside my classroom. I also taught it to all my children. So it was wonderful to see that when they would go out to play in the playground or during their break times, they would actually contribute towards helping their peers and sit down and ask them and engage the strategy with them to answer questions. So this is the whole idea of being a teacher, is that you pass on a strategy to your children and then they become independent with them. The second interesting thing that I introduced in my classroom was the critical question program. The idea of this program came to me through a professional development workshop I attended, which was about the Bloom's taxonomy. Now, as you know, the Bloom's taxonomy is all about developing analytical thinkers, understanding the thinking stages, and then engaging, different kinds of, processes to help children become better thinkers. So it all seemed quite simple in a workshop, but when I sat down with everything that I had in front of me, I realized that thinking is such a complex process. And when you have different skilled learners, different, thinkers inside the classroom, it is not going to be that simple to devise, learning outcomes. So I thought that it would be very interesting if children could understand their own thinking processes. And the purpose of the critical question program was also to begin to identify the different processes. So the purpose of the critical question program really was to teach children the importance of questions and how questions are going to define the process that is going to help them find the answers. So thinking in a lot of ways has to do with questions, thinking has to do with processes, and the answers that we get might not be the same. So I also wanted children to understand that if you're going to approach the question through different kinds of processes, your answers might turn out different. So this is how thinking actually works. So it all depends on the path that your thinking is going to lead you. And that path is, if it's different from the others, it might come to different kinds of conclusions. So what I did basically was to look at the different thinking stages of the Bloom's taxonomy and turn them into colors. So I had these 4 jars inside my classroom. They had red peas, green peas, blue and yellow peas. So the red peas were all about processes that involved remembering, which is the basic skill of any concept, and then it was followed by understanding and application. Are you able to understand the concept and apply it elsewhere? And those were the green peas. Then the blue peas were all about analysis and evaluation, leading to the yellow peas, which were all about synthesis and creativity. So when the children started to collect these peas into small boxes that they owned for themselves, they started to look at the different colors that came inside their boxes and started to identify with their own thinking processes. And understanding their own thinking made them far more confident about completing the tasks successfully. So the self-efficacy of these children was at a different level. So we tend to sometimes think that children who are struggling with a language might not be able to take in such a complex concept as the Bloom's taxonomy and apply it, and we don't need to tell the children, we can just apply it with our own understanding. I think teachers need to be a little more courageous and bold and take it out to the children. Our professional development and whatever we receive as teachers, a lot of times if we simplify it for children in different ways, as I did in my classroom by turning these into colors, I think children tend to become far more aware of themselves as learners, and this self-awareness is really their key for success. In the end, I just want to say that teachers work really hard, and I think they should be empowered to take these decisions inside the classroom, to devise strategies, to build structures. There's a lot of research out there that you need to read, that you need to implement inside your classrooms. And if you feel that a certain piece of research does not fulfill the needs of your classroom, you can modify things, you can make relevant changes, to your knowledge. And if things work, well and good. If things don't work, you can always go back and investigate a little more. This is a growth. The classroom is not just a place of growth for children. It is also a space for teachers to grow. And the only way to grow is to try new things, is to keep on challenging yourself. And so I feel that our professional development is for us, but at the same time, if our children are engaged in the process of what we've learned and what they think about it and how we can simplify it for children to understand, I think it's just going to turn the way things happen inside the classroom. So with that thought, I just want to say thank you very much for watching these videos. I hope that I am inspiring a few teachers to be brave and try different things out there, and I'll see you